Joining us now, distinguished Senator Ron Johnson, coming in from the great state of Wisconsin. Senator Johnson, thank you, sir. I just want to ask you, you are a former successful businessman, among other things. Did they make any headway at this meeting in the White House with the supply shortages and people are going to work longer? What do you think about it?
Well, Larry, I have no faith that government is going to help anything out whatsoever. What was Ronald Reagan's famous phrase? I'm the federal government, I'm here to help, and people just roll their eyes. So government pretty well exacerbates all the problems. I'm reminded of what apparently President Obama said about President Biden behind closed doors: never underestimate Joe's ability to F things up. And I think we're witnessing that here in the first 9-10 months of his administration. So, no, I have no faith the federal government is going to help. These mandates, these vaccine mandates, are exacerbating the problems. We are only seeing the tip of the iceberg in healthcare, in home care, in aviation, in military readiness. These mandates are going to just be a disaster in trucking. So, no, the government should get out of the way, but that's not what Democrats want to do. Democrats want to grow government. They want to increase taxes. This is just going to be one disaster after another. That's what we've already seen the first 10 months of this administration.
I mean, I think, to me, the only serious thing that came out of these meetings in the White House is that some of these great companies, they're transportation companies, especially FedEx and UPS, but a lot of the chain stores are involved. You know, they're going to go 24/7, Senator, but they're going to do it themselves. Like, they're going to send their own trucks and drivers, and they're going to send their own airplanes to try to get the stuff out of the containers on the West Coast and ship it around the country. All I heard from the government, a.k.a. President Biden, was snarkiness towards these private companies.
Well, first of all, the private companies would do it on their own. I came from plastics manufacturing. We operated 24/7 because it made sense for us to do it. Rarely shut our equipment down. The private sector will respond to the demands in the economy as long as it doesn't get in the way, and government gets in the way all the time, increasing regulations, increasing costs, increasing taxes. So again, the government, when it intervenes in the marketplace, it just screws things up.
Are you getting worried or more worried about inflation as I am, with the Federal Reserve still operating on an emergency basis, pumping in too much money for way too long? I'm quite concerned about this.
No, I'm highly concerned. I started my business career at the tail end of the Carter economy. And so I watched Ronald Reagan and Paul Volcker squeeze inflation out of the economy. And then for 30 years, I was in business. It was so incredibly difficult to get a price increase through. You had to justify it 16 ways on Sunday. It's a complete attitude change nowadays. Price increases are easy for businesses to get through because everybody's expecting them. Everybody's having to jack up wages because we're paying people not to work, and guess what? They're not. So we have enormous worker shortages across our economy. Some sectors are worse than others, and so wages are going up. We have all these supply dislocations, so commodities are going up. No, I see a witch's brew of ingredients for stagflation. Way too many dollars chasing way too few goods. I'm not particularly optimistic right now, Larry, and particularly not with Bernie Sanders and Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden in charge of things. They're just going to screw things up really bad.
Well, let me just linger for one moment, Senator Johnson. I mean, Jay Powell is running for reappointment. I get that. But I think people should start calling for the end to the Fed's quantitative easing, you know, where they're buying bonds and injecting money into the economy. You know, you look at some data points. I don't want to get too deep in the weeds, but various measures of the money supply and bank deposits and cash show there's vastly more money than people know what to do with. And, you know, Senator, talk about the 70s. If the Fed monetizes these supply shock price hikes, that's what we did with oil. Oil prices went up, and the Fed supported it with more money. So the inflation spread around. I'm worried the same thing's going to happen with oil, but also with all these, you know, what's coming out of the containers, the goods that are in short supply. All their prices are going to go up, and the Fed may ratify it. They may finance it, and that would be hell to pay.
Well, I've always been concerned that there are only a couple of ways out of this debt crisis. Either the debt bomb goes off or we inflate our way out of it. I'm afraid that we're probably going to inflate our way out of it, and people need to understand what that means. That means retirees are going to be really put in a squeeze. People in the low income brackets are going to really be hurt. So inflation hurts the very people that Democrats purport they want to support and help, but does the exact opposite. So no, all these well-intentioned programs are designed to grow government, grow people's dependence on government. It's going to jack up our debt. It's going to cause inflation, and the very people that the Democrats are supposed to help are going to be hurt. They're going to be hurt badly.
So while on the subject of big government, as I read in my intro, House member Jayapal and also AOC from New York, they're pushing the Democratic leaders in both houses, Senator, to keep piling on, I call it a $5 trillion bill if it's priced out correctly. They don't want to leave anything behind. They don't want anything to do with Joe Manchin or Kyrsten Sinema or, gosh forbid, the Republican Party itself. I don't think they want any work requirements. I don't think they want any means testing. They sort of put it all to work. Assistance for low-income housing, assistance for illegal immigrants. Now, Senator, what I'm going to ask you is, A, maybe they're the gifts that keep on giving because nobody else in the country wants this. Or B, maybe they're going to persuade their leaders that we do need all of this. What do you think?
Well, I'm afraid of B. I hate to keep quoting good leaders back in the 80s, Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher, but Margaret Thatcher had one of the great lines about socialism. The problem with it is sooner or later you run out of other people's money. I think we passed that point. And so when you get tax increases out of the Democrat Party, when you punish success, you're going to get less of it. I thought it was pretty interesting today, the reports of revenue. Revenue is coming in strong. These are at the tax rates enacted by President Trump. Again, if you have a competitive tax system, if you have a reasonable regulatory environment, the animal spirits will take over, the economy will take off, private sector will take care of things, supply will meet demand. But when you get federal government involved in it, it screws it all up, and we're going to end up with, again, I think a really bad problem on our hands here.
I'm on it, Senator. Save America, kill the bill. Senator Ron Johnson, thank you, sir. Really appreciate your time today.